Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is where you are. Uh, I hope you're doing okay. Um, no idea where Arno is. He's aware that this is happening. I think he might be joining. We'll see how badly this goes because obviously last time it was a complete disaster because he didn't even show up. And okay, I have no idea where he is. Oh, please don't tell me you're here already because I can't see you. There he is. Right, Arno, do not do any. Oh, he's already hit request. Oh, he's done. Oh God. What a fucking tool. Right, I've sent you an invite. Right. Have you got the invite, Arno? It can't be that difficult. Even Michael Brown can do it. Oh, fuck's sake, mate. Invite. I've already sent you an invite. God. Oh, no, it's gone. Oh, God. I've got serious regret about asking Arno to do these. Twice on the spin now. He has ballsed it up. You're not there, mate. There he is. Right, he said, do not do anything, Arno. Do not do anything. Wait for me to request. Send an invite. Sorry. Oh, it's already. Oh, God.
I'm
Right.
here.
Right. In future, for the record, just join and don't do anything until I send an invite. Honestly, I can't.
Okay.
You're stressing me out, man. You're twisting my melon.
You
Anyway,
think you're stressed? I am stressed. A lot more this time.
stop putting your funny accent on. We all know you're from Leeds. One sec. Let me just do the disclaimer because I think we're going to need it.
You mean
Nothing to.
completely? Yeah.
Oh, hang away there. Nothing discussed on this space in session constitutes trading or investment advice or infers any kind of endorsement by PiQ Global Limited, Traders PiQ or PiQ Suite, or its affiliates, including the hosts, which is obviously Arno Venter of CapitalEdge and myself, Ryan Paisley. So anyway, we got there in the end. This is why we start early. This is the preview for the Royal Bank of New Zealand. One second, let me just turn my sound down. Yeah,
Reserve.
so go on. So go on, tell us about it. Now you're over there. You're just across the ocean, aren't you?
Well, firstly, it's the Reserve Bank, not the Royal Bank.
Oh, fucking well, look, mate.
That's Canada.
Mate, I'm yeah, but I'm pre-colonial. Oh, sorry, I'm pre this colonial, whatever it is. Double
And that's allowed.
negative.
Okay, we'll allow it. We'll allow it.
There you
Um,
go.
all right. So in terms of RBNZ tomorrow, um, markets are pretty aggressive in terms of pricing. I'll share a few research stuff that we can share after spaces. In terms of looking at rate expectations, 50 basis points fully priced for tomorrow. And we've got another 40 basis point priced for November's meeting. What's interesting, though, is that markets are currently implying close to 225 basis points worth of cuts over the next year, or at least until the end of next year. So, I mean, that's roughly 3 more cuts total priced by markets compared to the bank's August MPR, which is pretty aggressive, I think. I think the thing that's quite shocking is if you compare the RBNZ's expectations, at least market implied expectations for the RBNZ versus any other central bank, it's just absolutely crazy how aggressive markets is. Now, obviously, the economy did show a contraction in terms of GDP, but it was much better than what the markets had feared. It's still looking at about negative 0.5 year over year, which is negative. But, if you take a look at the commentary that we had from Governor Orr and from the minutes as well, they definitely said that they see the economy much weaker than what they previously anticipated, but they also say that they're going to take their time. They're not going to just barge into things. They said that they are, and I quote here, let me just quickly bring up these comments from Governor Orr. He said that reasonable first step for monetary policy easing. We are in a strong position to move calmly, right? So that doesn't sound like a bank that wants to go 50. I think the most interesting thing apart from all of that, if you take a look at the recent data that we've only had GDP. We haven't even had new inflation data. So the markets have gone from, oh, wow, okay, they cut 25. They're probably going to do 100 over the next 2 meetings, but we haven't had any data apart from the GDP data. Because unlike a normal central bank, that gives us, or at least the normal country that gives us data monthly, we only have the quarterly data from them. So it's like,
Also, let's be brutally honest, right? let's be brutally honest. If it wasn't for the FOMC throwing us 50 and throwing most of us under a bus, we wouldn't be talking about 50. Because we wouldn't be talking about 50. But now it's basically no one now can trust anything that's ever said anymore. So everyone's like, oh, it might be 50.
Exactly. And I mean, I think the markets are a little bit crazy in terms of pricing. I mean, yes, favorable timing. If you are going to go 50, now that the Fed has gone 50, I suppose, that gives you the cover to go. But in terms of inflation, I mean, they were very, what I find hilarious about, these central bank projections is that these are the same guys that didn't forecast inflation running rampant. These are the same central bankers now that tells us, listen, we have very strong confidence that inflation is definitely going to go back to target. So we can just cut rates crazy right now. I think that's pretty interesting in terms of their commentary. So it's like, it doesn't matter what the data says, as long as we think inflation is going to go down, it's fine.
Oh, that's it. Anyway, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As long as they think it's
I think I'm 6'2".
Exactly. And mate, as long as you think that that's okay,
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Well, you've been speaking to my mum. Don't.
Look, I'm not too far away from that. So, anyway, we both 7 feet, 7 foot tall. Anyway, in terms of reaction function, it's obvious if a 50 is fully priced in by markets as it is, if we get a 50, it's probably not going to be enough to give you conviction to see a sustained move. If they do go 50 and you want to play for possible downside, I suppose the best thing that you could hope for is they go 50 and they give very clear guidance that they're going to have to do at least a couple of 50s, right? Or at least very clear guidance.
50s? Oh,
I mean, if you think about they themselves projected 150 basis points worth of cuts additional by the end of next year. So if they have to up that, they have to say that they're going to do another aggressive 1 or 2 cuts, even after the one they do this week. Otherwise, I just don't know whether a 50 is going to really be enough to move the needle, just because it's so well priced in.
But
and the other thing
is the thing, right? Hang on, but this is the thing, right? Yeah, are we being guilty now? Are you being guilty now of ignoring the fact that the market might just be plain fucking wrong, and we're gonna have a massive repricing based on the fact they're not doing 50s?
Look, we're getting to the 25 scenario. We're getting there in a second. I mean, 50s.
Okay. Sorry. I'll sit back down. I'll scooch back into my box.
So assuming they do 50, we need really dovish language, right? Otherwise, if a 50 is fully priced, that's probably not going to be enough to move the needle, at least enough. And the thing that's interesting about the Kiwi is that if you take a look at what's priced, the Kiwi hasn't responded to negative differentials since the August MPR that we had. It went down initially, and it's just been much stronger ever since. Now, I think some of that is down to positioning that was just very negative on the Kiwi going into it. But also, if you take a look at terms of trade, I'll share that chart after this session. Terms of trade has been crazy strong for New Zealand over the course of the last 2 months. I think that's, from a commodity dependence point of view, that makes sense for Kiwi strength, despite differentials. So that's something worth keeping in mind.
Apart from sheep and kiwi fruit, what do New Zealand export?
Look, dairy is the biggest one.
Oh yeah, of course, because they've got the index. They've got the dairy index, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest one. So in terms of trade has been excellent, and that's been a key driver, and that's why my preference for tomorrow is, because the Kiwi has been strong despite negative differentials, and because terms of trade is strong. I think a 25 is going to be the best bet for risk event traders, because that's obviously going to have to see the markets reprice that additional 25 basis points very, very quickly. And it's probably going to be enough to see that 50 or that 40 rather that's implied for November being paid back to 25 as well. And I think that is probably going to give you the biggest.
Sorry, it's been a long week, and it's only, what day is it today? Is it Tuesday?
Only.
Oh God. Oh no. Right. It's already been a very long week, right? So you saying that? So let me just recap a second. You saying so we've gone from potentially pricing in 250s to we could price in 225s in the space of about 30 seconds.
Exactly, because I mean, 50 is
brilliant. Strap in.
50 is fully priced for October, and 40 basis points implied for November. So if they go 25 and they just keep their language basically unchanged, The market has to reprice a complete
Oh
50.
God, there's going to be
and
a lot
the
of
other
people having their pants pulled down.
it's going to be, if they go that route, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I think the worst case scenario, like the absolute worst case scenario for tomorrow, would be that they go 25, but they then give strong guidance that there could potentially be bigger cuts coming later. That'll be bad, because then you're going to
But
get
they're
a
not going
bunch
to be.
of
But
people in.
still, but even so, they're not going to be cut in 75. That's
Yeah,
just let's not get carried away, right? So
yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like, and I'm sure you'll tell us more. And I'm sure you've got some nice charts and whatever, or some graphics or whatever. I'm sure if you haven't already, I'm sure I can persuade you to do some and then let me post them for you.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely.
it sounds to me like basically the risk return trade here is to fade the 250s and just put it on now, because what worst case scenario, it's whatever comes out backs that decision. It's not like it's not like the market's got to reprice it because it's already pricing it. But there is a huge chance that, well, it might not be a huge chance, but there's a decent chance we get a huge repricing because they don't follow, they don't kind of come in line with the 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely asymmetry, because let's just say they do 50. Let's just say they do 50, right?
I'll
Because
say, you say it, mate. You say it. Let's say they do 50.
let's say they do 50.
They do 50.
If their guidance is unchanged but with a 50,
50.
you wouldn't expect a lot of downside on that front.
No, exactly, because it's already there, right?
Exactly. It's already priced, and it hasn't really impacted the Kiwi. I think the biggest focus there will probably shift to China, which has seen some very, very small moves today. I'm sure you've seen.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen today's Ryan rants. I've gone off on one because everyone's now an expert in Chinese stock markets, and I think most people didn't even know what stock market was yesterday. But anyway, we digress.
Well, the base one was, the fact that, this stimulus will do absolutely nothing. It's super bearish, and then it rallies. The CN50 rallies, what, 30% in 2 weeks. That was the base one. That was really fun. I love that.
Right. Well, so I suppose it's all right if you're long. I'm not long, by the way. I'm not short either. Thankfully, I'm flat. I stay well out of that one.
I was long initially, and
cool. Fuck it. All right. Hindsight, Harry. Jesus.
exactly. I mean, I need to put it out there, but it was for like maybe 20% of the total move, and I thought I was getting a good deal.
Mate, you ain't trading crypto. 20%'s that's a fucking decent trade, mate.
No, I mean 20% in terms of the move. Like,
sorry. I thought you meant it was up 30. You made
move.
Sorry.
No.
Right, When you frame it like that, you're shit house.
And I'm like, damn it, I thought, wow, I'm getting a great deal here, and it just kept on going and going and going. I'm like, wow, okay, that's great, fantastic.
and then when once the move stops, you actually look at what you've made as a loss, because you're like, well, I should have made all of that extra.
Exactly. It doesn't feel like a win.
No, it genuinely feels like you've lost money on a winning trade.
Yeah, 100%. Geez. But yeah, I mean, to recap on the RBNZ.
Oh yeah, that's what we're here for. Yeah, good point.
50 fully priced. So I think your best bet is to hope for a 25. That's gonna cause a lot of repricing in a very short time.
It ties in with what we've said before, right? Well, funny enough, last Friday, when we did the NFP preview, was it Thursday? Whatever day we did the NFP preview, where it's like basically the knack to these things is, well, firstly, the knack is staying out of fucking trouble when these announcements happen. But the other knack is to come into it with a plan, and that plan, 90% of the outcomes usually mean that you sit on your hands. If this or this happens, this happens. If this happens and this happens, if this happens or this doesn't happen, 90% of your plan should be that scenario equals me doing fuck all, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It always is the way. And this is one of the most difficult things in trading. One of the reasons I no longer trade, because I have zero discipline, as Michael Brown is probably giggling to himself now because he knows me firsthand in a boozer. I have zero discipline, right? But if you can have that discipline and you can have an actual plan, as in write the plan out and say, right, if this comes in here, or if this is said, or if this is bearish, or, if these things add up, as we said last week, if all the ducks are in a row, that's the trade. And then jump in and go, two-handed, give it or take it, whatever you want to do. We're talking about trading before anyone makes a smutty comment. But yeah, and it's always the way, and this is why I've always, apart from just you being a mate, but I think one of the things that I'm always really keen to get you on these things is because you've made a career out of doing exactly that, having very rigid plan, and you are willing to do absolutely fuck all unless that plan is met or the right
Yeah,
scenario is met, and then you go in. And I think more people need to be learning to do that, because again, I know that there's a million different trading cliches out there, right? But the
yeah,
whole trading is 90% doing fuck all could not be truer. And then when you do that in that 10% time, that 10% moment when you do something, trading is 99% discipline of that 10% time. If that
yeah.
makes any difference, if that makes any sense, but I know what I mean somewhere, I think. But
100%.
yeah, but then it's easy to talk a good game. And there's a reason why I stopped trading, and I'm now trying to build some tech platform, and I don't know anything about tech, so don't follow me.
Well, for somebody that doesn't know a lot about tech, it's a flipping amazing
Oh,
platform.
stop it.
So,
Well, no, it helps that I have very smart people around me. Um, because fuck me, I'm still struggling with copy and paste, to be honest with you.
well, that
But
makes two.
anyway, but we digress. We digress. So what's your play then? So the TLDR is sit on your hands unless it's a cut 25, and
Yeah,
then go in, or would you wait for the language as well, or is there a
yeah.
statement, or is it a speech, or what? How does it work? What's the
No,
plan
I
tomorrow?
think tomorrow's statement only,
Okay,
but we
so
know.
so basically you should get it there and then. There's no like half an hour wait for a chat.
Yeah. I think it's just statement only, release and statement only. We might get Orr coming on the scenes. We don't have him scheduled, but we're probably
Right.
going to see him talking later. He normally does make an appearance, which obviously will be a risk to watch. But in terms of scheduled, it's basically just release, decision and statement only. So that's why I'm
Right.
also thinking, if they're going to go 50, they would probably want to say something about it, because it is an unconventional move.
Well, hopefully so. If
You
that
know,
becomes conventional, then we've got bigger problems.
I think we've got massive problems. I mean, so yeah. I mean, to summarize, if it's 50, I'll sit on my hands. If it's 50 and they come out saying, look, they need a couple more of those, that's probably the only time that I would look to really press in terms of shorts, if that
Right.
happens.
Yeah. That's fair.
For the simplest way, I think 25. That's going to give you the biggest initial reaction. And then if it is 25 and statement is unchanged largely, then they would need to reprice. Markets would need to reprice that 40 basis points for
Yeah.
November. I think that gives you the best bang for your buck. The one thing just to keep in mind, remember, this thing happens at ungodly hours, 2 a.m.
Well,
So
for us it does, but you're over in Australia, so not so bad for you, right?
look, for me, it's great, but liquidity is still going to be shit and volume's still going to be bad. So, there's just one thing to keep in mind, is that if you are going to trade that, your trading conditions are not going to be fantastic. It's normally
It's
crappy.
suboptimal. Bit
It's
like it's going to
suboptimal.
be. Michael Brown's listening, so I can say this without doing it. But someone's riding a lawnmower past my house by the sounds of it. But yes, in the words to paraphrase, well, to kind of compare to Michael Brown, the market's going to be thin and wispy like his Barnet.
Wow, I'm going to steal that. Yes, 100%. 100%. I mean, it's going to be crappy conditions, so just be aware of that. It's not the best time to trade normally. That's why
Fucking narrow it down a bit, mate. When is
that's why if you are going to get involved, just make sure that you keep that in the back of your mind, because your fill is probably going to be crap.
and on that positive note, oh no, thank you so much. Oh, you still owe me some charts today as well. Just gonna drop that one in there.
Oh,
Um,
yes, they're coming. They're
yeah,
coming.
exactly. Right.
Almost.
For guys that don't already follow Arno, I could not stress enough that you should be following Arno. He is very known. He's very no nonsense and puts out a load of stuff when he does put it out there. And I'm desperately trying to get him to put more stuff onto Twitter. His service, what he does, the CapitalEdge service, is blinding. Because it's not for mugs and punters, it's for people that are prepared to just do fuck all for most of the time and then just action the stuff that gives you the highest percentage chance of actually making some money, which is a rarity in these days because most people just want to put random content out and try and trigger people to trade. But
Yeah.
anyway, he's a good egg, and he's a good friend of mine. So there you go. Follow him, check out service, or don't, or wait for me to post the free stuff for you. Yeah. But anyway,
Wink,
Arno,
wink.
thanks, mate. Guys, if you are trading today, especially if you're trading the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, as always, keep it tight, and we
Yeah.
will see you next time. Have a good
Awesome.
one.
Thanks,
See you,
guys.
mate.
Have a good one.
Bye.